If you're actively creating content for social media, for podcasts, for YouTube, and it's not really getting any kind of traction, it's not bringing any leads in for your business or anything like that, I'm going to give you some insight on one of the number one things that I go over when I'm dealing with sort of situation with a client or somebody that I'm consulting with. And that is the niche that you're picking when it comes to the content that you're creating. Now, this isn't a sexy topic. I completely understand, but this is something that is a bold-faced truth that everybody has to face during their journey of doing content marketing, and especially marketing in general, is picking the specific niche to go after. One of the biggest reasons why it's a very tough pill to swallow is because depending on how niche you go, the smaller your audience potential will be. So for example, for me, I am in the real estate investing space. Like, okay, let's dial it even further back. I'm a business owner that I own a marketing agency. That's a niche right there. Inside of that, I service specifically for organic YouTube, social media, and podcast content creation and management. Then if I go further deeper into that, now my audience pool starts to shrink because I only work with people in the real estate investing space. So if somebody with a donut shop came over and said, hey, Josh, I want to work with you on social media, I might say, great, I can be a consultant for you and advise you, but we can't service you on this because you're not in my niche. Now, that seems ludicrous to some people. Like, why would you turn business away like that? The reason why I've been able to be successful in my media agency is because of making sure that I stay super focused and specific with the demographic that I'm serving. And I'll give you some reasons why later as to why that's important. But that's another niche inside of all these other ones that I have. And if I focus it even further down, I only focus in the organic space. I'm not in paid traffic. So there's a lot of niches that my services are in. And so my pool of audience is very small, relatively. Like, I don't service every business that's out there. I only service people in the real estate investing space. So it's important for me to understand and not get caught up from a mindset standpoint of, well, everybody's my target demographic. Because in Marketing 101, we always say, if everybody's your target demographic, then nobody is. Because you have to make sure that all the messaging that you're creating content-wise is directed to that person. So even though this video that you're watching right now might be a broad stroke for almost anybody that's creating content, that's still a niche because not everybody creates content. I'm still dropping hints to everybody that I only work with real estate investors. So if a real estate investor is watching this video right now and learning how to create their own content, they're going to look at me and say, well, Josh is the expert there. Cool. Like, let me contact him and work with him on this kind of thing. Right? And that's what I'm trying to attract. It's an attraction objective, but it's also a repelling objective as well. That's where it comes into play when you're being super niche with the type of messaging, the marketing that you're doing, and your audience. Biggest kind of standpoint for this is if you pick a niche and you go hard into it, it really does a great job of establishing your authority and credibility in the space. Now, I've been in this industry, the real estate investing space, for 13 years now. It's absolutely crazy how fast it's gone. But the whole time I've been in this space, I've been in the marketing field. So I was a part of 1,200 real estate deals for a wholesaling company. And I've worked with some of the top influencers in the real estate investing space. Some names that if I threw them out there, everybody would know who they are, that if they're in our space. But I've been able to accumulate a lot of really great experience in this industry. So one of the first reasons why somebody typically comes to work with me, no lie, is that they say, I picked to work with Josh because he specializes in this space. And the reason why that holds a lot of weight is because I can speak the language that their audience speaks. I know their audiences very well because I service them myself. So it's important to the person that's potentially going to work with me that I know their demographic, because if I don't, then I'm not going to know how to leverage my services and the marketing that we would do for them specifically. So holding myself into the niche specifically is creating a lot of authority and credibility for myself. So this is something that I know a lot of people might struggle with, but you really have to establish your niche because it does truly hold a lot of weight with the people that are coming to you. And again, because my pool of audience is very small, when that one person does come to me, it's a lot more impactful because I'm able to specifically service them and give them a much more specific pinpointed service as opposed to this very broad stroke that might not last for a long time. Typically, my client turnover for an agency is really low. Like, agencies average between 3 and 4 months, whereas mine sometimes is closer to like a year and even beyond that sometimes, right? And there's people that we currently work with that we've been working with since the day that I started my business. And that says a lot because I'm able to actively market to their demographic because of the niche that I chose specifically to go after. The other side of this is obviously your marketing. So like if you are actively putting content out that's value-based and driven, and you're serving a very specific audience and demographic, you're able to build a much deeper connection with them. And the reason why that's important is because of the things that I just talked about is conversion becomes a lot more easy. It's not as difficult to convert if you've already driven a very deep relationship in your social media, in your YouTube, your podcast for a specific demographic and service them, because now you're speaking the language, you're really hitting pain points with them and that sort of thing. And you can just drive deeper as opposed to, it's one of those things where if you go wide with your marketing, the impact you make could be this, but if you use the same amount of effort and you go very niche and very specific and deep, you can go a whole lot deeper with somebody and you're creating a lot better of a relationship. And they're going to last longer as a client as well, or a customer with you that's going to repeat and repeat and repeat. Obviously, a lot of this type of conversation centers around like the product and the service that you actually have. I'm going to try to keep it well within the marketing realm so that I can speak on my engagement and my actual expertises. But another thing that we think about is the opportunities that it creates when it comes to the content itself. If I am getting people on my podcast that are not specifically in my realm, then sure, theoretically, it could introduce me to a new opportunity with them, but then it could become a shiny object syndrome, right? And that's a lot of things a lot of business owners struggle with is the shiny object syndrome. So you marketing to a different demographic could create a whole nother like big mess and a nightmare. And some of the most successful coaches for business owners that I know will tell you that you need to be as narrowly focused as possible with your services and your products. Like I've had somebody tell me before that the 3 services that I have, which is YouTube, podcast, and social media, are too many. 3. They tell me do 1 or 2, no more than that. And I've had to think about that a lot. I still am actively servicing those 3 because I feel like they're very tied together. But the truth of the matter is that the more services, the more things that you have to have a lot more operational like activity within those. You know, like if you look at really big industries and really big businesses and corporations that service many different things, they have multiple different types of platforms and products. They have specific managers, they have specific operations for each one of those, and they treat each division like it's its own business. And maybe you as a small business owner just don't have the opportunity to do that. So let's dial it back to marketing. Now, as we're creating our marketing strategy and our content and our social media, we have to make sure that that is actively servicing our product and our services. So again, I'm going to call it out. Putting out a dancing TikTok video that has no direction back to our services and product is nothing but a waste of time. It may generate 1 million views, but did those 1 million views generate any kind of income to our pocket and our bank account? We have to be looking at that kind of stuff. Now, theoretically, sure, the more people a piece of content gets in front of, the more opportunities you have to reach a person that could potentially work with you. However, if you never told anybody, those 1 million people, who you are, what you do, and how they can get to you and what you have to offer them, then you're not going to have any kind of conversion and it's going to be emptiness. So we have to really be focused on the problem at hand, which is the service, the products that we're trying to enhance through our content marketing. So I'm just giving you all these reasons. And the important thing is to make sure that when you're creating your strategy, the action item that I would give you is when you're creating your strategy for your content marketing, be always thinking about, is this niche enough? Is this niche enough? Can I go deeper? Can I go deeper? And go as deep as you possibly can when you're creating a strategy for your content marketing, for your marketing in general, because that's going to allow you to pinpoint the exact person that you want as a persona to come work with you and ultimately create your own dream customer. And everybody that you would work with would be a dream customer, down to core values, down to the way that they handle themselves. They talk to you, they talk to your employees, whatever that is, that's how deep you want to get to it, because then they're not going to be a problem for you down the road. And trust me, that is worth the weight of gold. So hopefully that helps somebody today. I know this was a lot more of a kind of mindset thing as opposed to a actionable, tangible thing to talk about today. And it's not a sexy topic, probably not going to get a lot of views on this video, but it is something that a lot of people need to hear and work on. So hopefully that made sense and brought you a lot of value. If it did, make sure you like this video, subscribe, share your thoughts and feedback down below in the comments, and I would love to chat with you as well. So make sure you do find me on social media, Josh Culler, on Instagram and Facebook. Connect with me there. Send me a direct message. Let me know you watched my video. And I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you on the next one. See ya.